on you know, talking basketball. Sometimes people forget you are a two-time champion with the Houston Rockets.
Well, you know.
And watching the Houston Rockets this year, I want to know how you're feeling about them.
Well, I think the one thing that they have done is they've established the fact that they can play that brand of basketball just as good possibly as Golden State. But the difference is right now is that at any time there aren't multiple guys who can get 40. You know, and in the playoffs there's that one guy that has that explosion. And you know, if James has to play at such a high level offensively, when he has that 22-point game, are they going to be able to be the Golden State Warriors team? Because when Steph has 22, no big deal. KD has 22, no big deal. No, Clay has 20, no big deal. But it's a big deal if he gets 22.
So in other words, Golden State just has more great players than Houston, who has two great players. But can they possibly win if the role players get hot? If they play just right, could they beat possibly Golden State in a
game series? You could, because if you think about it, if all three of those guys get 30, they only have 90 points. And to beat the Rockets, you're going to have 120 points. So, you know, you're banking on the fact that, you know, even if they do play great, you know, we have that weapon that can steal in James Harden. That's what you would be banking on.
Use your basketball analysis to break this down for me. I think about Houston, and one of the things that I don't like is that even when James Harden explodes, it's because he's dancing on you. He's boogieing on you. As opposed to the ball, moving, and then bam, let me shoot this. And I think with Golden State, the sharing of the basketball and spacing are just as pivotal as anything else. Now, Chris Paul being there, then he might make sure that that's exactly what transpires. But I still don't know. To that you say, well,
you couldn't play that way in 2005. You couldn't play that way in 1995, the way Houston Rockets play. But in 2018, the way the rules are, and obviously the no hand checking and the ability to just isolate the floor. There's no really illegal offense anymore. So you can kind of play with that style of play what D'Antoni's doing, where you couldn't do that before. So it's more pleasing to watch Golden State play for sure, but you can now win playing ISO basketball.
Max and I have been going back and forth. What's the big issue right now? Has Houston just gotten that significantly better? Or has there been somewhat of a drop-off from the Golden State Warriors?
Well, when Kevin Durant leaves Oklahoma City, he did a lot of things. He made Oklahoma City make a big drop. Then Chris Paul makes the Clippers make a big drop. So all of a sudden, the two teams that were fighting to be in that position are no longer even close to that position at times. So now it's only two teams. It's not the fact that everybody, I mean, that they got so much better even, is he made everybody worse. He and Chris Paul just made people worse. They didn't make everyone better. And, you know, they didn't give an opportunity to make their teams better.
Well, what about versus Golden State? So Golden State, listen, that's the finals, right? Like they call it the Western Conference Finals. That's the finals. Whoever wins, that's going to win the whole thing, most likely.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, okay, if Golden State wins, they're winning the whole thing. If Houston wins, maybe Cleveland has a shot. But the point is, between those two teams, is it Golden State coming back to the pack, or is it Houston elevated?
I just think that the pack has gotten worse, period. I just think the pack has gotten worse because, you know, again, we're in 2018. We're in the selfie era. So we want to play with our friends. We want to be with our – that was the worst thing you could have done in 2005.
The pack's gotten worse there by elevating Houston to more the Golden State level.
Exactly.
But talk to us about the East, because you said you don't feel like it's a foregone conclusion.
Well, right now we don't know what Cleveland is because when LeBron James go out the game, what's the game plan defensively, offensively against them? No one knows. We haven't seen it. We don't know what we're going to do with Rodney Hood. Are we doubling him? What are we doing? There's no game plan. So they have this honeymoon period where they can kind of do things and just get away with it. Right now. And we have to see once the honeymoon period's over and there's a game plan against them, how good they are.
Max, I'll share this with you. Max and I got into this huge debate a couple of days ago about this.
Just one thing?
Well, yeah, this one thing.
Okay.
I beat him up every other time, but that's neither here nor there. This one was a legitimate beef. What I keep bringing up to him is that in the game of basketball, there are moments when one guy can get it for you. You can sit up there and say, take me to the promised land. If the guys around you keep you in the game until those waning moments. I believe that with the addition of the 4 guys that Cleveland has, which has elevated their athleticism, it's made them youthful, it's helped them improve defensively, you could find yourself in a situation where LeBron is in a position for Tyronn Lue to say, okay, it's close enough, now come rest.
Well, he's done it for 9 years, Max. So think about this. This is how everyone always says about blowing out teams. You lose by 16, that's pretty much a blowout.
Okay.
But you've only lost 4 points each quarter. So that's only 2 possessions. So the possessions really get tighter. So one guy can make 4 or 5 possessions change the whole game, the dynamic of the game.
We saw that when LeBron beat Golden State with Kyrie. But once Golden State adds Kevin Durant, that's asking a whole lot
think about this.
of LeBron.
We watched last night, I was watching the highlights. We watched Sacramento play Houston, and it comes down to the last couple of minutes. Bad teams still come up to the last.
You put on LeBron if they can't get past Golden State.
I was on a bad team, and I would say, man, we're only down 7.
Yeah.
We're only down 6. And then all of a sudden, they get that 4 or 5 run and you're down 15, and that's it.
Hold that thought, guys. Kenny, you're staying with us for the rest of the show, I hear. Good stuff.
Yes, he is.
Yes,
Yes, he is.
good stuff.